When the earth stops shaking from a major earthquake, just what should we do? I'm Gordon Jones, and with me today is John O'Sullivan, a seismic expert. John, immediately after the quake, in the first minute or so after the earth stops moving, what should we do?
I guess the first question is, where are you? If you're in your home, I think there are a number of things that you might want to do, and the first one might be to make sure that if there's anybody else in the family in the home, if you're not injured, to go check and see if they're injured. If there are no injuries, then the next step is to make sure that you make the place safe, and that could be for a number of different ways. Is there leaking gas? Is there water exploding out of somewhere? Is the electric wires down somewhere? The last thing you want to do is start running out of buildings even immediately after the earthquake, because aftershocks can occur. And most of the damage seems to hit people when they get stuff falling down from off of rooftops, chimneys will collapse and things like that. So I think the first thing is, we'll be in a state of shock probably, is to just stop for a moment and just check where you are. What's immediately around you? Is there anything that can fall on you that could cause damage? Those are the things that will really be the things that we have to concern ourselves with. Our problem will be the broken fuel lines to a large degree, and even the insurance companies tell us that half of their projected losses will be from fires, and fires start from such things as broken gas lines or fuel lines. So knowing how to shut the gas off is critically important, but it left a large question mark in our mind. What if you're not in the building? What if you're not available to shut it off? A seismic gas shutoff valve knows when there is a likelihood of a gas leak in the building. It is not something that will trip unnecessarily with a truck going by or somebody bumping it with a lawnmower. When it's correctly braced, trucks, other vibrations that could be in the area will not trip this. It will monitor the shaking of the earthquake, and when it reaches 5.5 to 6 on the Richter scale, it will match the shaking of the building and cause the valve to trip, shutting down the gas into the building and thereby eliminating the possibility of fire. The first one went into the Vancouver General Hospital in 1990, and since then schools, hospitals, fire halls and so forth have been putting these systems in, including residential buildings. You'll recognize this particular model by the dome on it, the red color. There are one or two other models out there, and the old story is you get what you pay for, investigate. This is the one that our engineers found 7 or 8 years ago, and we believe is still the better one in the marketplace today. If you're paying $300 to $400 a year for insurance, that's about what you'll probably pay for an installation, which is a single-family dwelling. If you've got a high-rise building and you're paying $1,500 to $2,000 a year, it's about the equivalent of 1 year's worth of insurance. And if you want to look for this system, any of the local gas fitters would be able to give you that information fairly quickly and tell you what it would cost to install one in your building. And in closing, I'd like to maybe leave 3 thoughts behind with you that you can give some deep thought to, but you can do them right away. First of all, we need to take care of ourselves and our families. Second, we need to take care of the building that we're in ahead of time. And here's an example of how you can do it. And the third thing is we can do some things in our community that will contribute greatly in the event of that disaster taking place here. The first thing is with our family, today, tonight, when you get home, set aside some water and rotate it every 6 months to make sure it's fresh. Remember that children will dehydrate without water after 24 hours. You can think of this particular item in terms of think of the kids and remember the K. The second thing I'd like you to remember is if you take care of this building from a perspective of fire, which is the F, then you in fact allow this building to remain standing, and it will be of some value afterwards, even if the heat is off for a few days. And finally, the last thing is under the community. One of the challenges that we had back in May, if you recall, of this year, the earthquake in Seattle, we did not know what was going on in this community because our media did not pick up the stories quickly enough as they did in Seattle. And one of the difficulties was that the phone lines became logged with people phoning across our city asking, what was that all about? Was that an earthquake? We unfortunately shut down our 911 lines here. And that is one of the biggest problems that we will face, because without communication, we cannot get through and solve the problems that need to be solved immediately. Stay off the phone lines, and also have a phone number out of town so that each of you in the family, in the workplace, know a number to call to tell people that you're okay. And quite frankly, I think with regard to the media, if we were a little more astute the next time around and tell people what's happening, there'll be less likelihood that we'll be phoning each other across the city asking those questions. So remember those three things. KFC. It may be Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is a little trite to say, but the K is for the kids in the water, the F is for the fire and the potential problems that you can solve ahead of time, and the C is for the communication. Make sure that you know how to effectively communicate in a disaster. We're listed in the book under West Coast Seismic Protection, and that number is 255-0140.
Okay, thanks very much.
My pleasure, Gordon. Thank you so much.
From the grounds of the University of British Columbia, for Vancouver Now, I'm Gordon Jones.